Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Oh, this is awesome. Everybody's starting to sync up, I think.
I'm just put my video on. I'm all good.
Hello. Wow, nice to see you. Oh my goodness. I think there's Roy. That's my
Can you hear me?
partner in creating all this. Hi, Roy.
I can't hear anybody.
You can't hear anybody. That's no good.
There we go. Now I can hear everything.
Yay. I don't know. It says that Lips is connecting and there's little dots. I confirmed today with everybody, so hopefully they all show up momentarily.
It'll happen.
Yeah, and I can see it's recording.
Yay. That didn't happen last time, unfortunately, because I forgot to click that button. So
That's what I was making sure too.
I think on Ron Keel, Tony Dolan, and Gia and Jimmy and Lips. It says he's here, but
Yeah, it says he's connecting to audio, so I don't know if he needs still needs to set that up or not.
maybe
That
we can reach him in face. He has been absolutely wonderful, and I know he's really excited to talk to you, Jackie. Coffee? Is everybody drinking coffee, or is that eggnog?
Chamomile tea. To be so rock and roll.
Hardcore. Does it have caffeine?
It's past my bed.
This is decaf for me. I've already had my dose of caffeine for the day.
Past my bedtime. I'm usually in bed by now.
Who is calling me? That is coming for me. Oh, that is a friend of mine. He does pop up sometimes at the weirdest moments. God diving. Sorry about that. All right, I guess we're still waiting for everybody else, but let's chat about you, Jackie. Where are you located right now?
I'm in Leeds, England, so like the north of, if that's London and that's Scotland, I'm about here. In the middle.
Oh, nice. And what's going on over there right now with COVID? Is everything shut down?
Well, yeah, we've just found that we've got this thing called a tier system here. So like we're in lockdown right now till December 2nd. And then they go into tiers. Like tier 1 is like the shops are open, pubs are open, blah, blah, blah. Tier 2 is like everything, main things are open. If you can eat, you can go in and things like that. And then tier 3 is like lockdown.
Wow, so you're in complete lockdown.
Food and stuff like that, but it's just crazy. Nobody knows what's going on, so nobody's really taking much notice of it, to be fair.
I bet that must be creating a lot of panic and a lot of
it is. It's kind of feeding the fear again, isn't it? You know, it's just people are confused, to be fair. People are very confused, and I'm not surprised, because like you get 1 tier, 2 tier, 3 tier, sometimes you don't even know which tier you're in, and it changes from week to week, and then government changes the rules, and who knows what's going on. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like that in the States, where it's like different in each state. Some of them are in lockdown, and then there are others that aren't doing anything.
Where are you?
I'm over in the state of Florida, and of course, government hasn't. The local governor hasn't enforced any lockdowns yet.
Right.
But there are some other states like New York State. They're pretty much in lockdown. Some of them are up until Christmas. Others are until probably till the end of the year.
Hey Ron, how are you? We see you.
Good afternoon. Good to see everybody.
Nice. Thanks for joining. And where are you coming in from right now? Or where are we hearing you from?
The wild Midwest, Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
South Dakota. Woo! Wow. So what's going? We were just talking about this current state of things in our area, I guess. You know.
So what is your area? Where are you at, Kelly?
I'm currently just outside of Toronto, Canada. Roy's in Florida. Jackie's in Leeds. And here comes Lips, I think.
Yay!
Yay!
Finally.
Finally. How
You
are
made
you,
it.
brother?
All right.
So good to see you. That's my buddy being annoying again. You guys all say hello. I'm gonna just shut
How you
that
doing,
off.
Lips?
I'm doing okay. How are you, Jax?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, nighttime. That's so weird.
Oh, we
Yeah,
just
it's hard
got
to
Tony
hear.
in too. So,
Cool.
this is quite the panel right now, I'd say.
This is an all-star super group lineup today. Way to go, man. It's very cool. And who's who of metal guitar players here?
I know it's quite an honor, quite an
Wow.
honor. Thanks for joining us, anyways.
My pleasure. I'm glad to be here, and happy Black Friday. Hope that's not too racist to say, but happy Black Friday.
It's actually,
Well, Tony.
that means that it's Black Sabbath then, right?
That's right.
Sabbath.
Yeah.
We don't have that in Canada. Yeah, we don't know what that is. Black Sabbath Day. I like that.
Get everything cheaper.
We were gonna talk about conspiracy theories on COVID today. That was Lips's idea. I don't know if any of you viewed that little video that I sent out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I have
did.
a few opinions.
Yeah,
on
everybody's
that.
kind of silent.
I know, right? Nobody wants to
No,
be
I've
the
been-
first one to say anything. This is funny. I do kind of knew that might happen.
It's like, come on, let's start an argument. Come on.
Does anybody?
We're probably
lean
all in
towards-
agreement. We're all probably on the pretty close to the same side of the fence, I would imagine, especially being in the entertainment business and how it's affected all of us and our fans and families and friends. And so conspiracy, it's only a theory until we prove it correct. So
Yeah, like
Nobody's proven it
anything that's a theory doesn't mean that it's true.
right.
Yeah.
Fake news as well. We don't know what's true and what isn't anymore. And the people, if they wanted to cover it up, the best way to cover it up is throw out a lot of news that makes sense and confuse people. That's how they do it, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
The thing is that I found about watching the whole thing was that that lady used truth to actually back her bullshit.
Her agenda.
I mean, that's the best way to describe it. And everybody that watches it spots the truths, and then if she takes you to some other place, but to some people, those other places are still continuing on with the truth. Which is,
everybody makes up their own truth.
and you're going, well, why do you believe that? Like the person that sent that to me really honestly believed everything that it was said there, and
That's so
proceeded
dangerous.
to lambaste me for laughing at it.
Yeah. Hi, Tony. I don't know if we caught that. Tony is here as well.
Hey everybody, hi from London. How are you? Nice.
Oh,
happy
really good. So
Thanksgiving.
great to see you. Wow, this is epic. Like, I mean, I don't think anybody really believes me. And, I wish I had a camera behind me so they could just see what I'm epically seeing
I'm
right
definitely
Well,
taking a
I
screenshot of this.
feel
Everybody
like I just-
smile. I got to get a screenshot because people aren't going to believe how cool this is.
now. Yeah, I know.
Right?
Send it to me too. Send it to me too. We were just
Look at a couple of
discussing
those,
conspiracy theories, and I think it's very easy to make a very qualified looking video to stick some facts behind it. Like, I mean, I make videos in my spare time. It's pretty easy, right? And to throw that out there, and people will just eat it up. They need an explanation. And I think people like all of you are the people who need to be spreading some common sense and, having an opinion on these kinds of things. So I think it was an interesting topic, Lips, for sure.
It's very, very difficult because, there's lots of facts and there's lots of facts, as Lips was just saying, there's lots of facts that people use to manipulate by bullshitting you using the facts.
Right.
So it's like, it's all agenda driven, so these ones are telling you their facts because they want you to think this way, and the other ones are telling you their facts because they want you to think that way. And if you're well educated and you're well studied and you're gonna, and you've got a bit more sense about you, or you've experienced some things one way or another, you're going to evaluate it. But, you know, sometimes what they look for is they look for the less educated, because if you're living, you know, in the Midwest and you left school because you had to get to the farm and you had to be working on the farm and you're just being raised by your family who have their values and have their education, you know, you may not be able to evaluate what the difference is between a load of shit and something that's actually factually driven, you know. So I think that's the hardest thing, is this, like Jackie just said too, is, you know, disseminating between what's the bullshit and what's not fake. And it's very, very difficult, you know.
Well, it's impossible, Tony. I think it's impossible. Yeah. And my experience, I've had the good fortune to experience so many different things in our industry throughout my 40-year career, but I was actually in mainstream media. For 2 years, I was the #1 voice on the #1 rock station in the Midwest, a daily show, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on rock radio, playing some great songs from all of you, and just an amazing format, a lot of interaction with the listeners, and social media every day. It was like doing a 4-hour gig on the air, but I learned so much during that time. But one thing I also learned is that the person who owns the station, you're going to say exactly what he tells you to say. The guy who owns the station,
he wants you to, exactly.
He also owned an outdoor sporting location where we had sporting events and races and such. And if the forecast called for severe downpour, thunder showers, tornadoes, whatever the weather forecast was, I was told to spin that in a way to where there's a slight chance of showers in certain areas of the region, as opposed to it's going to rain cats and dogs, because he didn't want his sporting events to be affected, ticket sales for those sporting events. So I had to lie about the weather on the air to my listeners, because that's what the boss is telling you. I tell you, everybody, all these little talking heads that you see on television and mainstream media and radio, they're just saying whatever the boss wants them to say. You can tell the difference in Fox News since Disney bought Fox. It's a whole different agenda and a whole different dialogue since Disney has taken over Fox. So I just don't listen to anything or believe anybody anymore, because you can't really trust any of that.
Yeah, it's like those in journalism where they try and sensationalize the headline to get people to click on that article, and sometimes they're stretching the facts, but if you actually look into some of their sources, you can see some of the holes that they leave out because they're drawing their own conclusion.
Yeah, like everything Lip says today in this conversation is going to be on Blabbermouth tomorrow.
Of course, of course. You know, but you do need the freedom of like an open-faced platform like this, you know, where you can say whatever the fuck you want, because I don't have a sponsor yet and I don't have anybody controlling me, right? You know, this is freedom, people, so speak your minds, you know. I mean,
this
the power
is
of what you say is pretty
real
strong.
people talking. It's not what they said. They said it's actually what we're saying.
Right. I mean, nobody's gonna edit out your content. You can swear. I mean, just be yourselves, right? That's gotta feel good a little bit.
Talk about the media as well. With when you're a puppet, and you're a speaking head, as you call it, a talking head. It's when you look at the channels online. When I lived in America, I just listened to things. I thought, hang on, that's not what's happening in Britain. They're reporting something, and I know that's not happening because I'm watching the different news. And you see so many. I used to watch RT, and then they started having adverts on there, and I thought, okay, corporations are involved now. And it changed a little, so I switched over to Al Jazeera. It's trying to find someone who's not follow the money. I always say follow the money, and then you just know who's in charge and who's pulling the strings.
It's a classic example. If you're working as a radio DJ and your owner of your station is like a sporting goods supplier, which includes hunting, weapons, guns, and something happened with the lobbying and you feel anti-gun, you're not going to do something about. He's not going to let you do something anti-guns, is he? So it's like, what the fuck are you doing? No. Because it affects his sales. It's the whole Rupert Murdoch thing. It's the whole classification with that, isn't it? It's like, Fox is kind of set up to bend how he wants it to bend. And, you know, people like that, you know, when I watching the things about, you know, the whole conspiracy thing about COVID is obviously there's something, and it's obviously killing some people who are vulnerable. It's obviously affecting people. How bad it's affecting, how lethal it is, I don't know. But I know that all I can hear about is how great the stock market's doing. And, you know, Pfizer and all of these, they've got all these, like, you know, we've got these viral solutions. It's amazing. And in America, they were going, you're going to be able to get it free. We just got to tier who gets it first and how they get it. Well, I bet
the medical system in America is something else. I can't say enough. If you're rich, you will live. If you're poor, you will probably die in something like this. And not being a full citizen and trying to get any medical care there has cost me personally $500,000.
Whoa.
Nobody,
well, yeah. I mean, that's incredible.
Nobody in the world is worth $500,000. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you know? Nobody should have to pay that. Not, you know what I mean? Like, it just, that's insanity. You know, losing your home, losing a family, losing everything you have, and then still, you know, needing more.
What's interesting is also interesting. You've got a spin on socialism, and it's like, we don't want to be socialist. It's like, you know that Jesus was a socialist. If you're so Christian, you know, he wanted everybody to be warm and have food and look after each other and shit, and they crucified him. And then they go, Jesus is with us. He's going, no, he's a fucking socialist.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a paper tiger, where people are more afraid of the word than they actually are of the concept.
And it's a misunderstanding of what the word actually means and what it actually implicates and what it actually, the things that happen under socialism. Half the shit that goes on in our countries is socialism. Like certainly in the UK and Canada, we've got fucking hospitalization, and it's taken off our paychecks, and it's part of our government. It's part of our society. It's not something that you have to pay for. Something that is paid for. You pay for it out of everybody pays for it.
And it's a great.
That's socialism. And the story.
Yeah. No, it's not a bad thing. It's a good positive thing.
Who says it is? The only people who say that is predominantly from America, because the Cold War, socialism is a direct relative of communism, and communism is like the worst thing that you could be. Right?
Yeah. I do remember being a child and just thinking, you know, wait, everybody has the same, you know, everybody has enough, nobody has more, nobody has less. That seems fair, right? People are like, oh, Kelly, no, right? But it did, you know, just think if everybody had enough.
Yeah, it's like they say the word socialism and then all of a sudden they think Soviet.
What?
It's like from the Cold War, you say socialism, which is actually socialist in the acronym of USSR. All of a sudden now they think socialism is communism, when they're different if you pay attention to the details.
But in America, did you experience this, Ron? Did the ammo sales and the gun sales go up as soon as COVID hit?
Absolutely, yes. Everybody's, I don't know the exact numbers to quote, but this happens at certain points of history when people are scared. And fear is a very powerful motivator. Yeah. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's afraid of not only this virus, this unseen, invisible, microscopic enemy, but they're also afraid of the guy next door now, unfortunately.
Yeah. The thing that's going to kill more people than the actual disease. When you've got fear in your body, you affect your own immune system. Your own immune system is weak. Straight away, you're going to get sick.
Right.
Really,
and I think
like those zombie movies.
Worrying.
That fear would lead to these conspiracy theories. And
you know, there was an interesting point. there was an interesting point that got me. The pandemic, and Italy got hit so hard, and I go to Italy a lot. Lots of friends in Italy. I'm sure we all have, but it got hit really hard. It was like, what the fuck's going on? And then we were talking about masks and PPE and washing your hands and wearing gloves. And then our government in the UK went, don't leave the house. I mean, don't go outside. And I was thinking, that's quite kind of heavy. I mean, like, if we go outside, maybe nobody lives near you. No, don't go outside. And I was like, and they'd already said it wasn't airborne. So now it's like, well, if we can't go outside, that means it is airborne. So, communities in the middle of wherever, with them getting the virus, they were going, yeah, we can't understand why they got it. Maybe someone brought it in. It's like, well, if it's airborne, that's why they're fucking getting it. So it's like, I think they were chasing it so quick, and the information was changing so fast. I understand that they were trying to get on top of it, but the whole thing, I'm not a conspiracist, but the whole thing seems like there's so many anomalies. We can't do this, we can do this. You can't meet for a party like more than six people, but you can go to a funeral where there's 30 people. Kids can't go to.
No one's wearing masks.
The problem is well, and no one's a doctor, and there's a million people talking, and contradicting each other.
Yeah, totally.
And it's simple. But the real truth is the stuff exists. I was sick. I got it. I know that it exists. There's no question about that. But the whole thing is about trying to stop in case you're asymptomatic, in other words, sick and not know. That's why you wear a mask, is to stop you from giving it to other people. Because that's the insidious part, is that you don't even know that you have it.
Yeah,
why am I getting tested? Why am I wearing a mask? Well, you might be sick.
Exactly. Everybody might be sick. I think it's very convenient. Convenient for them to invent a disease that you might have it and not know you have it, and you could spread it. Therefore, no more handshakes, no more smiles, no more interaction with your fellow human beings.
Yeah.
And I personally don't buy it. I've done 24 shows this year. I did the Sturgis rally for 250,000 people there, and we don't live in fear. My wife's had cancer. We went through this quarantine thing for the last 3 years as she was going through. And Kelly, you know this. You've got to wear a mask, and you've got to wash the doorknobs and the light switches and the remote controls, and you've got to be very conscious of bacteria and the possibility of infections. But I did my shows, and I will be the first in line for the vaccine. I'll tell you that right now. I don't care if they put a microchip in it. I don't care if it's got cyanide in it.
I want nanobots. Come on, give me some.
Right here, baby, right here.
I'll reprogram them.
Back out on the road and back out with my band and back in front of my people. 60 years old, man. I'm living on borrowed time anyway. Come on.
Yeah, first step to cyborg, for sure. I agree. But I was down in Texas, down in the southern states, and it's like there's a real thought that God will save you. You don't need to wear a mask. Let's go out and congregate and have concerts. And I was just absolutely floored. Oh my Lord.
Some of my buddies over in the Middle East, they found out there were a lot of people that would have that same mentality, where it's like, if there's not enough fuel on the plane will still fly if Allah wants it to fly.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's the same thing. I was talking with people yesterday who were like, I don't even think it's a real thing. She's like, I got a fever and I'm really sick, but I just don't think it's real, so I'm not gonna go check it out. I'm like,
there was a I think I watched on a Canadian channel that there was a nurse in Canada. I don't think she was Ontario, maybe somewhere Alberta or Manitoba, and she was like crying because she said she was dealing with a woman who came in, she wasn't feeling so good. She got real sick. They were trying to help her, and then she couldn't say her family because she really had it bad, and then she was dying. and she said she went in, was administering to the woman, and the woman was looking at this nurse going, I can't be dying. This is incredible. It's not even real. It's fake.
Oh my God.
How am I?
Oh my
The
God.
nurse was going,
Oh.
how do you say it is real, you know? And so even, you know, people get indoctrinated so much that even in that state, they can't accept it because, well, everybody says it's fake. You know, it's very interesting that, you know, Goebbels wrote a handbook on propaganda, which got the Nazis into the Third Reich. And, you know, McDonald's were one of the companies that, and well, American companies, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, the ones that apply those principles into indoctrinating people to want to buy their shit. You know, so you go, well, if it works, you do it, you know. If it wasn't for V2 scientists inventing a V2 rocket, America wouldn't have got to the moon because they took all those scientists to America. So you're implying techniques, create a problem that only you can fix, and people will do whatever you want them to do because you're going to be their savior. So, you know, the analogy with the pandemic is if it's so bad that only I can save you, then you'll vote for me or you'll buy into my whatever the fuck it is, or you'll do whatever I want you to do.
How many governments have been overturned in the last couple of months, and people are like, some real leadership now, aren't they? They really are looking for real leadership.
Totally. Yeah.
I think it's all going to come down to us. I think this has been a good time as well for self-reflection. I think on everything, because a lot of people now are faced with, right, all our modern technology has all been taken away from us. We can't do, our liberties have all gone. We can't do what we want to do, and they're left with themselves, and they have to take a good look at what they are. Do they like themselves? Have to get to know themselves and just live a different way. And it's really worked for some people, but not for others. I think it's separating people in that way. Some people have gone in. I mean, I meditate, so I'm very fortunate. It's not affecting me much at all. I'm not doing gigs because I can just relax and keep my mind calm and not listen to the rubbish. Turn the television off. I think that's the first thing to do. Turn the TV off. Turn off social media. Just taking good stuff. Get the you know, the headlines, but just be informed, not inundated, because this all is inundated. All this just fear coming at you all day long. It's not doing anybody any good, is it?
No, well, it's driving people crazy. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, depression, the fear, the anxiety, for sure. It's gotta have it.
There was a guy from Albuquerque. I'm running this competition thing to sell an old bass and some stuff I had in storage. And I thought, oh, you know, with the COVID thing in my area, there's lots of kids who, you know, from kind of broken homes, and it's Christmas and there's not much money around, and the Salvation Army were donating stuff. And I thought, I'll raise some money and buy a shitload of stuff for the kids. And so it's kind of what I was doing. And so, you know, trying to be really positive, give something, you know, something cool for people to do while they're stuck in the house, because we had lockdown again. And yesterday I opened a message on Instagram from this guy from Albuquerque, and he went, who gives a fuck? So what? Under the post of the picture thing. And so I went straight to his Instagram thing and I had a look at his pictures. It's big, fat guy, young guy, red hair from, you know, Albuquerque. And I was this close to going, you fat cunt, why don't you go fuck yourself? And I thought, no, be reasonable. So I just went, well, you know, it's a positive thing and people like it. I said, so why not, you know? And then he apologized. By the end of the conversation, he just lost his mother. It was Thanksgiving. He lives alone. And he said he was just having a shit day and he felt really bad. Apologized for everything. And then at the end of it, I said I'd send him some stuff. He said, it's really cool. And he said, you just saved my life. So, you know, you think I could have quite easily just pushed him off a bridge by going, why don't you fuck off? Nobody likes you anyway. Or, you know, just by thinking for a moment, go, hang on, everybody's having a hard time, a bit stressed, so maybe you should reach out. And I think that's the thing. It's very easy. People are going stir crazy. And like Jax just said, it's a time for evaluation. The first time in our lives, the world stopped. You can't do anything. You just have to be you and figure yourself out. And it's like, oh shit, that's who I am. So if I can survive this, I'm okay with who I am, think of how positive it will be when the world comes back on. And some people are just not coping. And that's where the internet comes in, thank God. You know, turn off the news, but do things like this. Look at the amazing people you've got on here. So, I I know all these people, if fans spoke to any one of them, they'd get talking to them, and that's what's great about this kind of thing. You know, fans can reach out and talk to their heroes, you know.
And
I'm gonna touch lips because he's one of my heroes in a minute, so I might touch him.
I know, right? He really, really is. And I mean, just gone above and beyond, and so many musicians from around the world have come to help me. It's quite a remarkable thing. I can't wait to tell the whole story. But I think that's what the musician has the power to do right now, is to reach out and to heal people and to connect with people and to really make a difference in this time right now. Because I know the minute that it's over, these epic concerts are going to come out and they're going to be life-changing. They're going to be, you know, history making. It's going to be worth healing, right?
Really appreciate
it.
Pent-up frustration from sitting around.
Yeah, I know, right?
Nothing else.
Do you really believe?
Let's face it.
Do you really believe that's going to come back?
Concept album.
Are we going to go back to normal? I in my life, I've experienced JFK. I remember the day JFK got shot. I remember 9/11. We all do. Nothing's ever been the same after those things. This is bigger than any of that.
Yeah.
You're so right. You're so right.
You know,
being in the media. Been interviewing people every week for my radio show. This is one of the questions I ask every week of whether it's a rock star, a fan, or somebody in the industry, a best-selling author, their take on when or how, what is next for our entertainment business? Because that's obviously the fans and the artists, we all share that concern. What's going to happen with our industry? I've had every answer is different. I had Robert Duncan, who was the former editor of Cream magazine, on the show a couple of weeks ago. He said it could take a generation. He said it could take 20 years. I'm wondering if you're ever going to pack a stadium full of people sitting side by side again.
Like 100,000.
The fear is not going away in the near future.
They've already cancelled Glastonbury and download for next year here already, and that's August, September time, isn't it?
I mean, I heard Wacken was sold out, like, so for next year. So that's, you know, I don't want to think like that. I really don't, right?
It's best to stay positive, but you got to be a realist as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you plan.
No. I mean, I don't want to think that it's.
The other side of that,
I mean, I'm not in a position of playing stadiums.
There are people like in our city that are actually revolting. Like they had a guy who had a restaurant out in the western or the eastern part of our city, and he kept on opening and letting people in to eat, and it's against the law.
Yeah.
So the third day came along, and by that point, he had hundreds of people all gathered around his restaurant, and then they ended up arresting him.
Yeah.
What do you think about getting people?
Put a big lock on his door and everything, and so he broke in through a wall in part of the other part of the building, and broke through a wall, and then proceeded to take the locks off the front door, and that's when the police took him away. That was it.
Wow. What do you think about 18 plus? You make the choice for yourself to go to a venue. You make the choice as an 18-year-old over to work a venue, to work an event. You sign a release and you have them, and people go or they don't.
Well, I think one of the greatest examples of all time was the big festival that you had. I'm going to get the facts wrong, but it was called SARS Fest. I believe it was.
Yeah.
Performing.
Yeah, that was
a huge festival right in the middle of a pandemic, or an epidemic at least, right? And that to me, that's all you need to say.
Yeah. Well, actually, what that was in celebration of actually getting it completely to ground zero.
Yeah, we had it for like a week or so.
That was a celebration of being able to do that, because we almost went into lockdown.
Okay.
True.
yeah, that was what I read in this article.
From Mitch LaFon at Rock Talk with Mitch LaFon. So he is my Canadian source of journalism.
It was an epic show. Oh my God!
Yeah, there was this article that I read that was talking about Metallica doing arenas, and they were saying And one of the nice things that they closed it off with was that once bands are doing arenas, that's a sure sign that the epidemic is officially over.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I've heard people say that they don't ever think it's going to come back. Not until, especially if they place this order where you have to have this vaccination.
Yeah, I think we'll all get vaccinated. Like I said, I'll be first in line. Go ahead. But I'm not afraid. But I'm concerned that the fear has now been instilled in everybody's psyche to where they're looking at everyone around them, they're looking at them differently. You can tell in the supermarket or wherever you go, they're looking at each other differently. And for guys like me, we're playing predominantly, it's either the big outdoor bike festivals or these small clubs. And I know that some of us are in the same position of playing what, a 400, 500, 600 seat club with the bands that we're in. If half the people don't show up, the venue's going to go out of business and we're not going to get paid. That's just the simple mathematics of that. And I've done a few of those to where you think about 50% of the people who say I'm going to be there, I'll see you at the show. At the last minute, they go, my grandma's elderly, and I don't think I should be going out. And I'm not. They'll find a reason to back out and stay home, and you're going to get that half capacity crowd where the venue's going to lose money, and you can't go back again next year. And it's a little scary in that regard for me and for live performing. I miss the camaraderie with my guys in my band and the crew and being on the bus together and going to the next town and whether there's, I don't want the guys in my band too, because this is their livelihood and I've got other stuff that I do, the radio show and the social media, and then my subscription sites and a lot of merchandise sales and things like that. But the guys in my band and crew, man, they got to play. And I'm concerned with their future. Also support dates. You guys all understand this. We can book a date here, but if we don't have a date here the night before, the night after, we can't do this show. We've got to have 2 or 3 shows strung together in order to make that road trip feasible.
Yeah.
True.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in Britain,
It's the logistics, the difficult thing.
Things are happening. We've done a couple, not Girls' School, my other band, Criteria. We played a couple of small venues because we're not as big a band. And it's been like chicken in a basket, we call it over here. You know, with people sitting down, just eating food as you're playing, waiting for the bingo and the raffle to come or something. It's kind of weird. It's like people holding spoons up in the air like you're in school for drinks, you know. It's walking out in masks. Kind of crazy, but it's like they've made, I think people find a way and they adapt.
Exactly.
Positive, really. I think we find a way to make it work.
I have a question. I have been doing online events where a band will go into maybe the venue, especially an iconic venue, to help keep its sales and maybe do an online performance from there that's ticketed like this.
Yeah, that's
do you see that is, a plausible way of moving forward, or am I just,
We'll find a way. We always find a way. We can adapt. We can.
The amazing thing, I think the amazing thing with humans is we adapt. We adapt very, very quickly, and we find out how to keep moving.
We adapted.
Survival, exactly. How we survive.
I just hope they don't find out they can live without us, because I always thought music is essential, right? Everybody's got to be entertained. I'll always be able to find a bar stool somewhere where I can sit with a guitar and sing a couple of songs and make a couple $100. And now that's just not the case anymore. So I think that virtual reality is going to be a reality. If you're going to do an online production concert, I think the big bands like Maiden and Metallica, they're going to be able to put on a show that's spectacular enough to warrant that pay-per-view fee. But bands like mine, we did a big live stream in August. We had 12,000 viewers. It was pretty expensive. It was almost $7,000 for me to finance the deal.
Roy is my other half. We did that. We got 40,000 views. We asked for $1 donation, right, Roy?
Yep.
We made $24.24.
Wow.
You know, I mean, and you know, and this is why I'm trying to charge tickets prices, because if people don't have to, they will not pay you.
Yeah.
And you guys deserve to eat food. Like, come on. I mean,
Yeah, well, with YouTube
they
and
just think
Spotify and all these
everybody's
platforms,
rich.
who's going to pay for it anymore if you can get it for free with YouTube or Spotify? I mean, we all know the current landscape of our business, and how do we survive and continue to create and live the only life we know. It's the only thing I've ever done for the past 45 years. I mean, I'm not good at anything else. I don't have a choice. I'm not going to go get a real job.
We've got our government over here telling us we have to go get proper jobs now. We've got to retrain. I think Edwina Curry or somebody were it on. I think two politicians came on and said that musicians should think about another career.
Oh my God.
I was like,
So it's like that all over.
Politicians should learn to sing and play an instrument.
Yes. Well, the funny what Jax has just said there, and there was a government form, so you had to go onto a website, and then you filled in a government form, like answering questions, you know, and like, do you get on with people, and blah blah blah. So you fill this whole thing in, and at the end, it recommends careers for you. So, you know, I thought, yeah, fuck it, I'll give that a go. So I went on, but the first thing it said, actor. The second one, musician, or something in the entertainment industry. I was like, well, that's fucking no use.
Wow.
The loop continues.
I got a friend did that, and it came up with funeral director.
Funeral director.
You need a degree for that too. My daughter's got a degree as a funeral director, and she can't even get a job.
Oh, what?
Oh my God! Now we are in trouble. We are in trouble. I was hoping it would come up with Brazilian gravedigger, because they got a run on them at the minute, and I thought at least they'll have something to do.
Oh man!
God.
Got some cadavers to collect.
Maybe they need to come up with like a welfare system just for musicians and artists right now, you know?
Well, they're trying. Musicians Union, the Musicians Union of America, and everybody's trying that as well, you know. So there's a big community thing going on, and we're trying to support the industry in many, many different. I'm part of a producers conference out of LA, and you know, so everybody's coming up with things. But it's at the end of the day, like we've just been saying about venues and people. You know, if people go, well, it's my choice if I want to go to a show, and I really just want to go to a show, and if I have to do it this way, then okay. And the bands go, I just want to tour, and if we have to tour it like that and play to, you know, 50 people instead of 300, then okay, as long as we're touring. But logistics mean you can't cover the costs. You can't fly from America to Germany and fly from England to
50 people.
You just can't do it, you know? Yeah,
No way.
I could probably get a budget airline to fly to New York and do some shows across America, maybe separate little shows with less people, but I still got to find $4,000 for my visa to be able to get to America to then play. It's like, well, if you don't have the income, how do you, you know, how are you sourcing it? So it's
Lips has a book and a movie about that very same
Yes,
scenario. So we can all reread the book and watch the movie again and learn from his life lessons.
Then from the tips. I thought you were going to say because Lips has a very popular book and a very popular movie, he can fund us, which I was going to.
No,
you got a point
no.
there,
And I think he's one of the most commendable stories of just never giving up and just to keep going. And you know, I think that's what's
not because of a pandemic. I haven't been faced with that before.
No.
It's really, to me, it's one of the most brutal fucking slap in the face that I've ever had, because after all the struggle to get known enough to be able to go play all around the world, and then this happened. Great.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we'll find now that anybody who can.
All that come to a dead end. You know what I mean? All of it. You go through everything that you could possibly go through. And you finally get some success. You finally it gets going, and then all of a sudden this shit happens. Oh, great.
I feel guilty saying it, kind of like I was just starting to get some attention, and then all of a sudden this hit, and everybody's home for me to interview. I got interview after interview after interview after interview because everybody's bored just sitting around at home, right?
I
The
have
first
done
year was like,
472 Zoom
good
interviews
luck.
this year.
Yeah, it was very, very
all this
difficult.
shit, all this shit's going to get sorted out. I guarantee it. It's going to get sorted out. And if it is what that crazy lady says it is, turning us into robots, then so be it. I'll be, that's the way it goes. Who cares? But you know, to refuse vaccinations and to be against all what's going to fix everything is insane. So, but I think we just have to be careful. There's going to be certainly lots of people in front of me, particularly, before I have to get vaccinated, so I can sit and watch.
Everybody, yeah. I'll be the 10,000th person, not the first, right?
I'm not too worried, honestly.
Good.
I mean,
great attitude. Everybody's got a great attitude, and I'm trying to stay positive as well. And we've all been through so much in our lives and in our careers that you have to learn to adapt and take it as it comes. And I do agree that anybody who can quit will quit now. My agent has just lost a number of acts on his roster of bands that just fuck it. They're just not. They're breaking up. They're not going to remain active anymore.
Hey, you know, all it did for me. What? I got time. I got to be not on the road. Great. Let's start writing. I had just put out an album, and now I'm back in writing. I just finished writing another album. So in a few months. So that's that. It's not a bad thing. It's you got to keep yourself busy. You got to keep yourself some way doing it, or
an opportunity.
Or you go out of your fucking mind, man.
Yeah, I've seen bands where normally they release the album, then they go and tour to support the album, and now they're having to change the order of it. So it's like they release an album, so we can't tour. What do we do next? Release another album.
Right? Yeah.
Well, that's it. I'm gonna stock up on material, on songs and so forth for the time, because I don't want to come off the road.
Yeah.
Once I go back, man, I'm not going back home to write. Just keep playing, man, and then book the studio. We'll go in there afterwards.
But I think that's the point too. Is like for us, is that you know, the last show I have a hip operation before the pandemic hit. So the last thing we did was vacuum, and then we were going to take the time. I'd have my hip done, and then while I was recuperating, we just do the new album, and we've been doing it all year because what's the point of rushing? You know, it's going to go out digitally. We can't go out and support it. We can't play any shows. We've been waiting. So it's like, well, we might as well take our time and make it even better than it would have been. And I think because of the amount of touring you're doing generally, you look for gaps to try and put your songs together that you've been writing on the road and get into the studio and throw them together and stuff. And that's not to say they're going to be bad, but, you know, now you've got all this time that we don't normally have. You might as well do exactly what Lips had just said. That's what we're doing. We've overwritten, 30 odd songs. We're piling them in there. We're just improving what we're doing, taking our time. And we're going to have all this stock so that when we're ready to go back out, you know, the period where we need to prepare a release, it's already there to go. So it's just about the artwork. We can just keep throwing it down, you know. And so it's about,
that's how you make your money, is being on the road.
Exactly.
They're just going to be making money endlessly until you have to take time off to record. Sounds like a great plan. Money.
Hey guys, it's good that even Girls' School might be doing a new album.
Yay! Oh, that'd be awesome! Wow, wicked! Oh, have you said that anywhere else? Because this keeps happening to me. People keep saying stuff like that on my show.
Well, we're writing right now, obviously, but obviously we've got Tracy in Spain, so we can't get her over here, and we're all at different parts of the country, so we can't travel right now. So it's difficult. Nobody's got any technology. Clue, basically, to do it. Honestly, we can't even organise a Skype call. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy. So
we'll be very lost without going.
We'll get there.
we did a thing called Metal Alliance in the which was about 15 festivals came together and did an online festival weekend, and you could buy tickets, and they said camp out in your living room with your buddies and just stay at home and watch it online. And Bloodstock contacted and said, you know, would you guys be up for doing it? I said, absolutely. Yeah, definitely put us down. And I thought, oh, brilliant. And then I thought, hang on, I live in London, Mantis lives in fucking Portugal, and the drummer lives in Florida. I was like, how the fuck are we going to do this? So I just wrote to them and I said, guys, I gave them a link for an eBay site. And I said, buy these green screens and these lights. We've got to do this concert. So
Oh my God.
I got mine in the kitchen of my house, and they shot theirs in their homes against green screen. Then I brought it over and I edited the whole thing, and we did the festival, and people were going, looks a bit weird, like, where you guys were? I said, you know, but again, it could have been, you know, Sabaton, or they did a headline spot, but they all live in one country, so they all rented some fucking place and spent their money and did their stage show and stuff. We couldn't do that, but we could still do something. And that's because of the technology. We could, you know, with the album, we're sending bits here, bits there. We can still keep going, even though we're not in the, you know, in the same location, you know. That's the advantage of the technology. In the old days, we couldn't do that. So at least we can keep moving forward, you know.
The younger people got it down. You know, they got it all down, and we're like, you know, I don't know, a few years behind almost in a way, but I think we'll get there, and I think everybody will come to understand it really soon, really fast. I think labels will make it a mandatory thing to meet their, you know, your required performances, right? You know, I do. I see it changing. I see if we're still locked down like this, next year will be very, very different. And I hope that the labels start supporting people. I hope that they put the money into getting these performances out there, because we need them as people.
Yeah.
We need to see it. Yeah, you know. But I don't know how to make that happen.
I think, like Jax just said a bit before, is that from the bands, from the musicians, and from the fans, when we get to be able to do it again, we're going to reevaluate and really appreciate what we had that we forgot we fucking had, because we got so used to just having it. And all of a sudden we don't have anything. It's like, oh my God, oh shit. I never go to a pub. And yet I was pining for about 5 months going, I just want to go to a pub and drink a pint of beer. And I don't even drink beer. But it was,
I know, me
wasn't
too.
Hey,
it was
to be able to go out for dinner. How about to be able to go for dinner? That would be that'd be novel.
Yeah, yeah. Just things that you just would just do, pop into a cafe, meet a friend, or pop into a bar and, you know, have a drink at a lunchtime or something. And, you know, then you can't do it. It's like all you want to do.
I don't know if, Lips, you've ever gone to like the Hot Box Cafe. It's where you could openly sit and smoke weed for like 20 years. I don't know how before it was legal, but, you know, you could just go and sit. And I had a core group of friends every day, and I really miss that kind of interaction because I don't drink, right? So it was a way to socialize, but it was a cool place. And for the first time in 20 years, it's shut down. Nobody's going. It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I miss that. I miss just interacting with people and talking and just being around people.
Yeah, it's got to turn. Everything's got to turn around.
Yeah. You know what I
just
discovered?
down as well.
What I just, yeah, I did discover. I'm sorry, Jax, go.
I'm not just saying. I think the Guitar Centre just got shut down, didn't it, in Hollywood?
Yeah, it's filing for bankruptcy. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I know.
That's like.
Yeah.
Oh
but
my
I
gosh.
think it's just the outlets themselves. Like, you know, Disney's let 250,000 people go. I think it's the outlets, you know, they can't keep this show because nobody's allowed to go into the fucking store. So, you know, we can't get the store open, so they'll just go online. But I did find that, and this was a top tip from the President of America. I couldn't find bleach, but I used this to clean my benches in the kitchen. And if I
not drink it.
If you inject this, you can play any stadium anywhere.
That's the power that, you know, people like you have. So if you are spouting these crazy theories and people listen to you, you know, they will follow what you say, right? Because of who you are.
He kind of said that, and then it was like, yeah, I didn't mean that. He was kind of joking. It's like, you should have told the people in New York who went and injected themselves with Clorox. It's like, he's joking. Don't do it, you know?
Right,
So like,
right. Yeah. I mean,
And
wow.
he was asking scientists, wasn't he? He wasn't really saying he'd done it. He was just asking her, wasn't he? He still went ahead and did it. Oh dear.
Could you do that? I'll do it. No, you can't. You can't do it.
It's a jackass moment for sure. Made America look really stupid. No offense.
A lot of what all that is just the media going, taking a piss at it.
Yeah, just remember last year with the whole craze of the Tide Pods.
Yeah, I saw it when it was actually on airing, and you could tell it's obviously he's kind of joking around. He's joking around about it. Seems
Yeah,
obvious.
but you can't. You're
And
the
then they said they're
president.
telling people to do it. I didn't see him tell anybody to do it.
Oh, he can't joke.
No.
But all the other presidents could just lie through their teeth.
Yeah.
But a guy can't be real. He can't just talk like the guy next door and just be human. He's got to be presidential.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
man. It fucking drove me fucking crazy watching that shit for 3 fucking years. A regular guy, that's why he got in, is because he's a regular guy who
Exactly.
couldn't be bought.
Yeah.
Couldn't be bought.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Look at
Respectable,
how they
okay.
treated him.
Yeah,
Don't
I
get me
agree with that.
Stupid.
Well, it was where there wasn't that classic thing was like the eclipse. You know, they had the sun eclipse, and then they had everybody wearing their glasses on, looking, and he was like center page of the New York Post with no glasses on, staring at the sun, and they were like, "Oh my God!" And then I was like, "Fucking hell, what a fucking idiot!" And then I saw the video, and he comes out, and it's just before he puts the glasses on. So he bends his head up and then puts the glasses on. It's like a millisecond, but they took the photo and went, "Idiot president, looking at the sun." It's like,
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing I noticed. Like, whoever gets elected, they always just point at everything that they do and say, like, "Oh, he's screwing up here and screwing up there." And it's like, it doesn't matter who it is; they're gonna just talk whatever they want to.
Yeah.
Get their way.
Well, we're going to miss him. We're going to miss
It's
him.
really obviously
Mark my
obvious
words.
media manipulation. Obvious media manipulation is going on. So
Yeah.
that's why everything is turned into conspiracy theories. Actually,
Mhm.
the media itself is actually destroying our democracy. It isn't.
Yeah.
It isn't anybody one person at fault. It's a whole fucking syndicate.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
You know,
Yeah, I
it's
agree
like
with that, yeah.
it's like going fishing and you've got 2 buckets, and in one bucket are the two rainbow trout you just caught, and in the other bucket are all the worms. You know, one's just crazy and you can't figure out what's going in there, so you just put your hand in and pull anything out, and the other one's clearly got 2 fish in it. And right now we're staring into the bucket of worms and we're going, what the fuck is going on there? And that's what they, that's what they want you. They don't want you to see the fish. They just want you to be staring at the worms so you don't know what's going on. And it's like, why can't you just, it's a pandemic, which means every country in the world has this shit going on. Why is there not like a cohesive thing, like with the World Health Organization? Why didn't somebody just go, okay, let's all get together and all do the same thing and all look for the same solution and all solve it? And it's like everybody went, no, we'll do it. No, we'll do it. It's like a Monty Python sketch where everybody runs out of the room at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're left there going, is anybody coming back in? They're going, we'll be back tomorrow. And it's like, fuck, what's going on? Nuts.
They'll fix it though. I think that they have a few variations of vaccines.
Yeah.
And I think it's a matter of the proper propaganda to get people to take the vaccine. That's all.
I mean, people are still scared of vaccines in general, just from the whole autism thing and whether that's
I
even
don't know.
real.
Myself, I've had it. In order to go to South America, you got to get inoculated.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with that. You got to get yellow fever. You got to get
Malaria, all that shit.
malaria, all that shit, man.
I heard way back there was a resistant strain of TB going around England. And I only heard about it for a week or so, that it had mutated and become more deadly, and they had no vaccine for this new strain. So, I mean, if we don't get vaccines, crazy stuff like that could happen. I mean, we're seeing these viruses mutate, change, and become different things. This is the Spanish flu did that, SARS did that, the bird flu did that.
The thing is, I have a friend who is she's a doctor, very high up, and she was working frontline, and she said, look, the virus is mutating, and I was like, so is it still so dangerous? And she said, listen, this virus lives in a living host. If it kills the host, there's no point in killing the host because that's how it lives. So it's mutating so that it doesn't kill the host. So it's actually getting weaker, but only because it wants to survive, and it survives in the host.
That's an
so
interesting
I was thinking, oh yeah, okay. Well, I guess you're not going to burn your own house down, and with you. So it's that kind of thing. So maybe I think there's a positive side, and obviously like Lipsia said, with the vaccines, they're 95% positive, 97%. They're all coming out, Pfizer and Oxford, and I think you've got the greatest minds in the world working on the solution. And that could take us to the moon, take us to Mars. It could, give us smartphones. That's
when humanity decides that it wants to get something done, it gets done.
Totally. Yeah.
But and people actually, when they have a common enemy, which is the virus, every country in the world took part in doing this.
Yeah.
And to the point of almost competition, because it's worth billions.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Here's something interesting. I don't know if anybody else knows Greg Christian from Trauma. But he sent me something back in the summertime where apparently some doctors in Italy went against the WHO and their regulations and did autopsies on the dead. And they found out, according to this, that it is not a virus at all, that is actually a bacterial infection. And if it truly was an airborne deadly thing, I just think it would be a lot bigger. Like, I know it's huge, but it just seemed to make some sense to me,
Yeah.
that this is actually...
Put people on antibiotics and see what happens.
Yeah, and it can be cured with anticoagulants and anti-inflammatories or something like that, that it was not a virus. I mean, I didn't know what to think of that. It kind of set me for a loop with autoimmune like I have. I'm so afraid to leave my house. So kind of for a week or two, made me breathe a little easier. I went out a little bit, I came back, and then I was like, yeah, I don't know. Because I didn't hear anything else about it.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't heard any autopsy reports specifically, or read autopsy or medical reports from the US, so I don't know. But I
also wonder if how many of those were cases where it was something else, but it gets misdiagnosed as COVID.
I do know COVID is a very real virus, though, and it has been around for a very long time in other forms. Right?
There's lots of strains of COVID, yeah.
Yeah, if you look on, I think it's a few spray cans of disinfectant, like it said on them, that kills COVID, and that's been out for years, right? So I mean,
there's different strains, but what puzzled me, this is COVID-19, 2019, because it's a new strain of COVID, but they were aware of COVID. But just stay with me for a second. There's a factory in Wuhan in China, and American scientists, British scientists, German scientists, and of course Chinese, we're all going there, working on trying to derive viruses from animals like bats, because they wanted to, what the fuck did they want to do with them? I wonder if this small mammal has a virus that could kill humans. Let's have a look. Let's see what it is. Oh, there it is. Oh, fuck, it's gone. Shit. It's like, why are you doing that in the first place?
I mean, this is kind of the same thing with AIDS. I mean, AIDS apparently came from monkeys in Africa, right? And that eating and consuming the monkeys during tribal events or whatever,
Well, it was
just
supposed to.
eating monkey meat it transferred it from animals to humans. It did not affect monkeys, does not kill monkeys, does absolutely nothing to them, but it
Exactly.
affects us, right?
And the same things for the bats. The bats carry COVID. It doesn't affect them. Can we just leave them in the bats because they're okay with it? Can we just do that?
Let's not
Now,
eat
do you
them.
think there's any
Now,
truth in that they were eating them?
The misconception of it coming from bats, or how it came from bats,
Or how? Yeah.
what is the bigger in the scheme of things, or at least what I've read, is that it came, the first guys to get it were coal miners in China, and they caught it in the coal mines. How they caught it in the coal mines, who knows? There's bats down there, but that's basically fundamentally it's not from eating bats. And I know everybody's probably saw on Facebook or saw posted of the girl eating bat soup. And it's it's a Photoshop
More
shit.
propaganda.
But I also know there's a poverty problem. There's a real poverty problem in rural parts of China, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were eating animals that they weren't normally prone to eating just to survive.
That's also a possibility.
No, during my visit to China, we wanted to know. I mean, and we were really shocked when we found out how advanced China is in comparison to Canada. And we're thinking we're going to fucking Nicaragua, but no, we're going to fucking China, man. It's a completely different thing. It's like, wow, this is where all the money in the world is going.
Yeah.
I saw the most advanced, the most beautiful fucking technology and buildings that I've ever seen in my life. And the way that people lived, there's nobody who went without work. There's nobody is impoverished. You're not allowed to be impoverished there. If you get caught trying to sleep on the street, they come and get you. You got to actually really hide in order to get away with living like that. You can't live off the grid. Okay.
You don't have squeegee kids then, huh?
No one's going and picking bats off trees and making soup out of it. Okay. I'm just telling you, if they are, it's going to be in the far reaches, in the deep jungles that they have there, where people live separate from the big cities, and there are people that do that in the south, the furthest south of China. And that's the place where they actually eat dog.
Yes, exactly.
And it's really frowned upon, not just by the rest of the world, but by the people in China itself. It's an incredible embarrassment, and they hate having to answer questions from us Westerners about it. Now, as it turns out, it's not a common thing. There's a bunch of elderly people who live up in the mountains in the corners of China that carry on this shit once a year. And that's what it is.
I've been through some really rednecky places in America where they eat squirrel and they eat possum and whatever the heck they can hit on the road, and that's no big deal. So, I mean, America's does it too. I'm just saying,
Everywhere.
I think it's so true. It was really rough, man. Really rough.
And I'm healthy. I'm perfectly healthy. And the roadkill, the possum stew, it's fantastic. I've never had a flu shot. I must say it's a fascinating conversation. And after what you've been through medically and scientifically, Kelly, with your situation, it's very tough to be objective. And for me to, I'm not, nobody's got all the answers, and I don't certainly trust the science, but I do certainly respect and appreciate what you've been through, and God bless you for your battle. How are you doing? Are you feeling okay? You doing all right?
I only puked twice before the show. I was very, very nervous. I'll probably do it again after. The cataplexy has hit me a few times today, just out of happiness. But I fear going outside. I fear, interacting with people. But yeah, I would still do it in a heartbeat. If you said there's a 50,000 person show going on in Toronto, I would be there tomorrow.
Yeah,
You know?
that's the toughest thing about this entire topic to juggle is the fear. What are you
Yeah.
afraid of? And, I mean, I ride a motorcycle. I drive an RV across the Arctic to sing for 1,000 drunk high people who might be armed. I mean,
Oh yes,
my
they
life
are.
is dangerous anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
we just never know from one day to the next. I believe we're all on a one-day contract.
Yeah.
And we have to fulfill our end of the deal today. And tomorrow's not guaranteed for any of us. So I'm not afraid per se. Certainly, I fear for my kids, my grandkids, and what kind of world they're going to have to inherit. But like I said, I'm living on borrowed time. I'd like to take care of the people that I love while I still can and do what I was put here to do.
I think that must be a real fear is the kids. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just germ factories. And I know I have a few friends who work in the daycare or the school systems, and I mean, they're terrified to go to work. They have to go to work. They have no choice. You know what I mean? They're not given a choice on this matter, you know, and they're dealing with 30 snot-nosed little kids who are just germ factories. I mean, talk about fear. I think I'd rather stay isolated, honestly, right? I'm worried about our generation of children and their education. Some parts of the US have very poor education standards compared to Canada as it is. So this whole generation is going to be at a big loss. I think our kids are suffering.
I agree.
Kids are
Yeah.
There will
suffering
be
more than we
exceptions to
are.
the rule, but generally, yeah, the education system for decades now has been compromised, and now it's non-existent with kids learning from home.
Kids right now here, sorry, the kids right here have been told don't hug grandma at Christmas, you might kill her. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Wow,
this is just horrible.
that is horrible.
Really
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
They've
And
taken away our hugs, our smiles, our handshakes, our high fives, our swapping, sweat with the people in the front row of our audiences. It's it's
told not to sing
unfortunate.
loud, aren't we? Can't sing loud.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to sing without spitting. I mean, it's just
Oh,
this
Tony,
is
you've
my
had it.
computer screen right now. I mean, it's a mess. I can't scream my guts out without spitting on the people in the front row. They're gonna have to
All
move
right.
the barricade way back.
After our
you
actors,
have what they have up in Canadian bars now. They have a plexiglass sheet between you and the bartender.
Not
they have
surprised.
the ear as well.
Wow.
You'll be contained within your own spit, in your own glass
That's
bubble,
cool stuff.
right?
After a song or two, you won't be able to see
I
my-
know, really.
Exactly,
That's
right? We'll just have to feed quarters in to keep you going or something. I don't know.
It reminds me of, they may do plexiglass stage aprons, like, if you remember the Blues Brothers, where they play, when they turn up there, are you the good old boys? They go, yep, and then they go and do Stand By a Man, and they've got the whole screen where, because people are going to throw bottles. In Rio de Janeiro in 1986, when there was a big show in Rio, walked into the venue and there was a big net like at the apron of the stage, went, what's the net for? And they went, oh, you'll need that tonight. And then, okay,
Do you remember the Roadhouse cage? Kind of like that. You just need a plexi box. We'll just, right? Oh no, I lost connection. Damn it. Everybody's got the best smile on their face. Oh wow. I think we went over by a lot of time. Oh, come back, come back, come back. No. Ah! It crashed. Oh, wait, I'm coming back.